I repeat that Prince did not die from taking the prescribed Percocet, since Percocet contains oxycodone and not fentanyl. The evidence that Dr. Schulenberg prescribed Percocet for Prince in Kirk Johnson's name is not germane to the ultimate question I reviewed, which is who provided the counterfeit Vicodin with fentanyl to Prince. Despite the intensive law enforcement investigation, there is no reliable evidence showing how Prince obtained the counterfeit Vicodin laced with fentanyl, or who else may have had a role in delivering the counterfeit Vicodin to Prince. As part of the investigation, law enforcement completed forensic analysis on all digital evidence seized pursuant to search warrants. Despite their extensive efforts, law enforcement was unable to determine the source of the counterfeit Vicodin laced with fentanyl. Therefore, without probable cause and no identified suspect, the Carver County Attorney's Office cannot file any criminal charges involving the death of Prince. The fact that criminal charges are not brought certainly does not mean that some person or persons associated with Prince did not assist or enable Prince in obtaining the counterfeit Vicodin. After all, Prince somehow did come into possession of the pills, and the pills had to come from some source. There is no doubt that the actions of individuals around Prince will be criticized, questioned, and judged in the days and weeks to come. But suspicions and innuendo are categorically insufficient to support any criminal charges. Assigning blame by implication is not my role as the Carver County Attorney and as a prosecutor. My role is to make exacting legal determinations based on established and reliable facts, not to pass moral judgments. To ethically charge anybody with any crime requires probable cause plus a reasonable likelihood of conviction, noting that the threshold of proof in a criminal case is beyond a reasonable doubt to a unanimous jury. The bottom line is that we simply do not have sufficient evidence to charge anyone with a crime related to Prince's death. Because Prince was an intensely private person, he was certainly assisted and enabled by others to obtain some of these medications. Those individuals included, but are not limited to Dr. Schulenberg and Kirk Johnson. The evidence shows that they followed Prince's direction in maintaining his privacy. However, we have no direct evidence that a specific person provided the fentanyl to Prince. For every legal wrong, there is a remedy, but not every remedy is criminal in nature. Therefore, I am pleased to announce that the United States Attorney's Office for the District of Minnesota just issued a press release announcing a civil settlement with Dr. Schulenberg. We are pleased that the doctor is being held accountable for his actions in writing the prescription Percocet in Kirk Johnson's name. Because I am declining to file criminal charges, the law enforcement reports prepared by the Carver County Sheriff's Office now become public data under Minnesota law. These materials will be available for free download on the Carver County Sheriff's website in the next day or two. Individual data requests are therefore not required. While some portions of the law enforcement data may be redacted consistent with the law, the vast majority of the reports and photos are not redacted. Under Minnesota law, all data is presumed public unless some exception applies. Our state has a very open and transparent process as it relates to data, even criminal investigative reports and photos of crime scenes. This office must comply with the law, and therefore the reports and photos are public at this stage since no charges are being filed. In regards to the autopsy reports, Minnesota law is very specific about data that a medical examiner is allowed to disclose. The law provides that the autopsy reports, which includes the toxicology reports, are considered private or non-public data under Minnesota law and therefore are not accessible to the public. I would like to conclude by stating that we are in the middle of an unprecedented and horrific epidemic of opioid overdoses in this country. Prince's death is a tragic example that opioid addiction and overdose deaths do not discriminate, no matter the demographic. We wish to express our sincere condolences to the family, friends, and vast legion of Prince's fans. Thank you.